What's up? Real MVPs, Ricky Widmer here, and we are back for another edition of MVP Games Live. Soapy, let's hope that my Streamlabs doesn't screw up like it did yesterday, and we get all the way through a stream without having any interruptions. Sports Live was fine, but you never know. Games Live is sometimes a tricky mistress, as they say. But before I say that, I am joined, as I always am, by my beautiful co-host, Soapy Muffin. Oh, please tell me you're fucking with me. Okay. Did you disconnect there?
How are you?
Did you, or were you fucking with me right there?
Wait, what?
Did you hear a word I said?
What am I fucking wrong with?
I basically introduced you, and then I heard nothing.
Oh, yeah. No, I heard you.
Okay. But
It's just my internet had a little bit of a stroke there for a second.
That just perfect timing, right on cue. I talk about basically my stream messing up, my internet messing up, and then Soapy's internet decides to have some fun with us. But we got a jam-packed show for you guys, talking about Soapy's favorite topic in the Epic versus Apple debate. As a court ruling came down, we're going to talk about that and much, much more. Before we get into everything, though, a little bit of housekeeping. These will be on podcast services sooner rather than later. We thank you for your patience while we wait for them to be approved. Join the Discord if you have not already. You can go ahead, YouTube, it's down below in the description. If you want the link on Twitch, just put exclamation point Discord, and the link will be presented to you by Nightbot in the Twitch chat. Also, on our YouTube page, make sure to go to MVP Entertainment to check out my DC FanDome videos are starting to post. There'll be some on tonight. There's already 2 on right now. If you're on Twitch, on Wednesday, there will be 4 more that post. I have 8 in total coming out from DC FanDome that are nice treats, talking about what we got from there. And then also check out patreon.com/MVPvids. You can help support the channel by becoming a patron, or if you're on Twitch, get the same rewards as you would get from being a bronze member by either throwing us a Twitch sub or by throwing your Prime Gaming sub at us for the month. And also thank you to our Patreon producers, Pat Hill and Philly Sean. But let's get into everything that we have to unpack, Soapy, because this Epic, I feel like the Epic Apple conversation is going to take up most of the show today, because we actually have some definitive things to talk about, not just like you and I were kind of talking about before the show, not about like, well, we're right, you're wrong. Nuh-uh, you're wrong, we're right. A judge actually came in and said, children, here is your ruling. The first article is from Adam Bankhurst at IGN, which says this: Apple has taken an early victory in its legal battle with Epic Games as the court ruled it doesn't have to immediately reinstate Fortnite on its App Store. According to Bloomberg, U.S. District Judge Yvonne Gonzalez-Rogers made the ruling late Monday night, but it wasn't a total loss for Epic Games, as she also granted Epic's request for a temporary order blocking Apple from limiting the game developer's ability to provide Unreal Engine key graphics technology for other apps. Roger was very clear in saying that the case isn't a slam dunk for either Apple or Epic Games, and that this temporary ruling will not dictate the final outcome of the litigation. There will be another hearing on September 28th to discuss a longer-term situation. And Andy Robinson at Video Game Chronicle actually has some in-depth quotes. He says, in his statement, Judge Rogers said that restricting Epic's developer access would cause potential significant damage to the wider game industry. The record shows potential significant damage to both the Unreal Engine platform itself and to the gaming industry generally, including on both third-party developers and gamers, he said. The public context in which this injury arises differ significantly. Not only has the underlying agreement not been breached, but the economy is in dire need of increasing avenues for creativity and innovation, not eliminating them. Epic Games and Apple are at liberty to litigate against each other, but their dispute should not create havoc to bystanders. Certainly, during the period of this temporary restraining order, the status quo is in this regard should be maintained. Soapy, with all of this being unpacked, with this ruling now coming out, what is your thought, and has your thought changed when it comes to the Epic Apple debate?
No. I'm literally, it would just actually take Apple just being shown that, like, they never got a single cent for Fortnite on Apple. That'd be the only thing that would sway me. Because I've said since day one, and I'll say it till now. I'll probably say it into my grave. You are on their platform.
Mm-hmm.
They have a rule set up. If you are the only big company to throw a crybaby fit about it, be like, but I want money. If you're gonna fucking do that, go somewhere else. Like, I don't understand. Like, but I'm gonna try to stick to this. I don't want to just go on the full fuck Epic rant that I do every time. I want to at least try to keep
the
this
rehearsed rant that Soapy has.
It's not even rehearsed. It's just fucking ingrained in my memory out of just pure anger.
Mm-hmm.
But with this ruling, like I said, it doesn't change anything.
Mm-hmm.
They're still in the same spot. But I think by the time it comes around in September, I think it's mainly going to depend on how Epic keeps handling it.
Yeah.
Because right now, Epic is I'll even say Epic's the underdog in this. They're the one that has to prove that, what they did was just, and that, Apple has this incriminating business history or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
The only problem is, what Apple's doing is what every other launcher does. It's not any different. It's just Epic thinks that they can get away with fighting Apple on this front, but they don't realize they can't.
Well, and the thing for me is, I posted a link into Twitch chat right now. The link will be down below on YouTube, because I am going to bring up an article that kind of goes into the next point, and you kind of brought up this point with Epic and what they need to do going forward. But like for me, it's refreshing to see a judge step in, because the thing you got to worry about when it comes to judges, when it comes to courts, when it comes to juries is, I think back to like when Dave and I were at VidCon and I was in a panel for fair use, and the guy giving the panel was basically like, well, fair use is one of the biggest, you never know how the case is going to go type of cases, because if it's a jury or if it's a judge that doesn't, more so the jury than the judge, because the judge, studies law and shit. But like for most part, like a jury, in that case, it's like you might get people that are unfamiliar with it. So you're not really getting informed people making the decision. It's nice to have a judge that's informed of like, hey, I see both sides. I see the side of like, it's your platform. You can make whatever rules for your platform. So it's okay. You don't have to reinstate Fortnite if you don't want to. But on the other side, I love how Judge Rogers was basically like, hey, the economy is shit right now. We're going through a pandemic. Taking this engine away from just bystanders who are not Epic, because they probably see that, hey, Epic is the one standing out here. It's not like Epic and company are in this lawsuit. It is just Epic. So why penalize the other people, the other bystanders, because one company is making these actions that the judge can probably see isn't totally for what they say it might be. So it's nice to see a judge, in my mind, step in and basically say, hey, if I have to be the parent here, I will be the parent. But moving forward, the article that I was referencing in Twitch chat, you can check it out right now because I put it in Twitch chat. His name is Dieter Bahn on The Verge. Had an amazing article that I read today that I think is a greater discussion for this Epic Apple debate that we has. And the article reads, Apple and Epic have to win over more than just a judge. And he goes on into detail about things, but there was one thing that kind of spoke out to me, to where he says, right here, therein lies Apple's most immediate risk. Talented programmers have any number of things they could spend their time and resources on. If they sour on Apple for any reason, business, concern over unpredictable policies, or just plain disliking how they're going to be treated, it's a problem. It may be one of those you don't know that you're missing what you're missing until it's gone problems too. Just a slow petering out of enthusiasm. That's fixable, but a few companies have been able to turn that kind of slide around, and for Apple, it would come at one of the worst possible times. The company is about to embark on a massive project to make iOS apps work on the Mac and bring many of the design philosophies from the iPad over as well. It will want developers engaged and interested in tweaking their apps to take advantage of the opportunity. Epic, meanwhile, needs to convince many of those same constituencies and has risks that are perhaps more existential. If you're a game developer, do you want to use Unreal Game Engine that's inexorably tied to what might be a quintessodic campaign from the CEO and Epic? Or do you just use Unity instead, especially as that company is gaining in popularity and may get even more resources from an upcoming IPO? Unless somebody blinks, the court battle between Epic and Apple is going to take a very, very long time. Due process is a slow process. The various juries outside the courtroom, however, could start making up their minds a whole lot faster. Soapy, what are your thoughts on that little snippet that Dieter writes in his Verge article?
I mean, he brings up good points for both sides. It's not a slam, like he said, it's not a slam dunk for either side.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is you're gonna get the people that, and like obviously, I even said this before. I hate defending Apple on anything.
Yeah.
Because I don't like Apple. But like for instance, you're gonna get people who are the opposite of me.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm willing to put aside that I hate Apple for the fact that I think they're in the right here.
Yeah.
You're going to have the people that they hate Apple and they want anything bad to happen to them.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing is, though, with the whole idea of, you have to keep creators interested, the whole thing is, if you let's say, for instance, like when they launched this new thing they're doing,
mm-hmm.
let's say, like, a little developer, let's say there's a guy who's making a game in his basement. I don't even mean that as like a negative thing. But like,
you're just trying to talk about the littlest of little developer you can think of.
Yeah. Like someone like that, you're not going to miss that person.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's something a lot of people don't realize. Of like, obviously, that's your bottom line in game,
mm-hmm.
is the people who are doing this as a passion.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing is, though, there's always an outlet for that person's passion. It is so rare for such a small developer, like even if it's just one person, two people, hell, even three, it is so rare for such a small game to blow up that it would be noticeable.
Mm-hmm.
But then, for instance, it's larger companies are going to realize they make more money doing Apple and other platforms, rather than if they're just like, I don't like Apple because what they did to Epic. Mm-hmm. If they leave, they're hurting their own pockets more than it's hurting Apple.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things of like, I think Apple is going to try their hardest to just be like, no, like no one else is going to be punished besides Epic, which is why, like, for instance, I think in September, they may limit the use to just like anyone who wants to use Unreal Engine besides Epic can use it.
Yeah.
And with the Epic side, they've also got a point of they need to kind of rally the little guys, which they keep trying to say they're helping, The only thing is, every statement they're making really isn't doing anything. Because even with the email that Tim Sweeney put out, where like he was trying to work out a contract that like, oh, you get rid of this rule that like, oh, you take this much money from a creator. The thing that comes from that, is people need to realize it is Apple's platform.
Yeah.
Like,
they're not set up the same way that Android and Google is set up.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with the way Apple's doing it. Yes. Should Apple, like, obviously I know people would probably be like, oh, well, Apple shouldn't take any of the money. The whole thing is, it's a business. You're using their platform, they get a cut of your profit. It works for anything. It works for Steam. PlayStation does the same thing. Epic does the same thing. Xbox does the same thing. Nintendo does the same thing. Everyone does it.
Yeah.
It's this isn't something that's only unique to Apple. Granted, Apple may take more money than other ones, but even at that, don't like it, don't put your product on their thing. Simple as that.
Well, and the thing that I kind of think of is one of the things that you said kind of spoke to me is like, if you're a developer, you're not just using Apple alone. You're trying to put, like, if you're making a game, you're going to try to make it to where it's on iOS so that Android users can use it. That if it's a game that can go computer-wise and be on a desktop too, you want to try to get it in front of as many faces as possible. And it kind of makes me think to what we do here, where when you talk to creators and you talk about people in the like industry that we're in doing these videos, is it's always like, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Yes, you make YouTube videos, but also do live shows on Twitch, also do stuff on Twitter. You've got IG video, you've got TikTok now, you've got Facebook, Facebook Watch is what it's called now. You've got all these different avenues to get content out there, to where Apple, like you said, is not going to notice a little guy. But if enough developers start saying, because the big thing that's going to turn off developers from Apple is how they treat Epic, because there might be developers, even some bigger ones that are bigger than the guy in his mom's basement making that video game. There may be developers bigger than that are going, hey, I don't like how Apple treated Epic. I don't agree with, I don't jive with that at all. So fuck Apple, and they'll leave. Because people are very much like that in just, what's the word I'm looking for? Like emotionally, that's how we're driven sometimes, is all it takes is we're looking for one reason to say, nah, fuck this guy, nah, fuck her, nah, fuck him, kind of a thing. We're looking for that one reason sometimes. And all Apple needs to do is give that person one reason to say, fuck Apple, and then leave. For Epic,
yeah.
Go ahead if you were going to say something.
Oh, no. I was just going to, kind of as a retort to that, though, I don't think it really matters how they treat Epic, because Epic broke a rule. Well, this isn't something of where they went out of their way to fuck with Epic. It was Epic blatantly broke the contract, and they got punished. Like, obviously, I know a lot of this is going
like
to stem...
on top of that, though. So, like, not about the whole Fortnite thing. I'm talking about, like, the Unreal Engine thing. Where it's like, if they're going to treat Epic like this and try to take this engine away from them, well, they're not thinking about me then. Because that doesn't just affect Epic, it affects me too. So, like, it just takes one thing. Like, and yet again, I feel like I want to say Apple has the most to lose from this. And the reason why I say that is because Apple was backed into this by Epic. Epic was the one that kind of lured them and was like planting the trail, and then bam, the trap went down to where, oh, you're in this litigation. What do you do now, kind of a thing. Where Epic kind of knew where it was going. But yet again, on the Epic side, it all comes down to also by fighting with Apple, if you are going to lose, then let's say Apple's trying to do all the right things. They're like, no, we want to keep Unreal Engine for everyone, just not you. And they find either a different person to be that one to source the Unreal Engine. How many people are, even if Epic wins this and wins the litigation, how many people are going to look at Epic the same way and go, you know what? Fuck it. Like, I don't need the Unreal Engine. I'll go use this new up and coming one. And Epic might be, while focusing so much on Apple, they might not be focusing on this new product coming up, and that new product might overtake them to where they might look back and go, oh shit, we should have paid attention to that more and not so much on our little quarrel with Apple.
Yeah, and especially because then with that does go into the don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Mm-hmm.
Like, obviously, you don't want to lose the better engine of the two right now.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to lose that.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing is, though, I think they basically, I'd inappropriate phrase, but like, they're going balls deep in one thing.
Mm-hmm.
They're not paying attention to the fact of, like, this other thing is gaining traction. Like, they're not trying to get, like, their hands on it. Like, obviously, they may be doing something behind the scenes that's not been made public.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, for instance, it's right now, it just seems everything's Apple. Mm-hmm. It's not, hey, let us try to get a sharing part of Unity. Let's have us try to do what Apple is doing of how they have control over part of the Unreal Engine.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, try to do that. And it's just Epic doesn't. I want to say it's like Epic is only looking at the short term.
Mm-hmm.
They're not looking at long term of, like, I think no matter how this lawsuit goes, whether Epic wins or Apple wins, this is going to affect both companies.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think it's one of the things where people are going to be like, is it really worth fighting over the Unreal Engine when Unity is getting better?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and then it's also going to be... Oh, my bad, sorry.
No. Go ahead, finish your thought. Go ahead.
I know, I was just going to say that it's... At this point, like, everyone's going to be just focusing on this. Boom. Another company steps in, takes a large sharing portion of Unity.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations. Now, just out of nowhere, like, let's say, hypothetically, because I think Epic's going to lose it,
mm-hmm.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's, let's say Epic loses, and they're not allowed to use Unreal Engine.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're in a situation that if someone else has a large sharing part of Unity, they could lock them out of Unity.
Yeah.
Where does Epic turn then?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's their problem with the way they've handled it, is they're pigeonholing themselves into just, we need to win this. Not like, hey, if we lose, it's a whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's slowly becoming they need to win this or back out of it quickly enough
mm-hmm.
that they can kind of recuperate and try to, like, get a more solid foundation for the future.
Well, and the one thing I was going to bring up, you bring up, like, the eggs in one basket thing, kind of to relate it over to what we've talked about on the show of, like, look at the streaming world where you had a guy like Dr. Disrespect. He was on Twitch pulling in numbers, and now it's like he's on YouTube, and on YouTube he's pulling in millions of views on YouTube on top of his stream. And, like, Epic, they're laser focused right now on one opponent. It's kind of like a Battlefield too, where think about any great war or any, like, war game you've played. It's not about just focusing on the one battle at hand. You got to focus on this battle, but hey, what's going over on this front? What's going on that front? You're kind of playing different fronts in this war. I think that you're right. Epic is too laser focused, and it might bite them in the butt, especially if they do lose this lawsuit. We will know more about this. Obviously, this will not be the last time we talk about this, as September 28th. September 28th is going to be the last day. Am I wrong? That is if I'm doing my... So September 28th is a Monday. September 29th will probably be the last day we talk about this, unless something else comes up, which
there will probably be something else.
You never know. But we're going to kind of put our bookmark right there. We've moved a couple chapters down the line in the great Epic Apple debate. Let's actually talk about some games, though, Soaps. And the first thing we have is Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. And the reveal is set for tomorrow, August 26th. However, we've got a little bit of news, this one coming from Ryan Gilliam. at Polygon.com. It says, early Tuesday morning, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War leaked ahead of its upcoming reveal. A long description for the game posted on Call of Duty Tracker suggests it's a direct sequel to the original Call of Duty Black Ops. As the name suggests, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War takes place during the Cold War, a war of espionage rather than gunfire, taking place between the United States and Russia in the 1980s. According to the leak, players will come face to face with historical figures and hard truths as they battle around the globe through iconic locales like East Berlin, Vietnam, Turkey, the Soviet KGB headquarters, and more. The campaign will star Woods, Mason, and Hudson from the original Black Ops, with a host of new heroes as well. Players will spend their time hunting down someone called Perseus, who seeks to use the war to take advantage. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War will also bring the familiar Treyarch Zombies mode, and host of Call of Duty multiplayer modes, both including a bunch of weapons from the 1980s. Warzone will also see quite a few changes. And for me, I just wanted this to... We're going to get the reveal tomorrow, so of course, like, a lot of this is like, let's wait to talk about it tomorrow. But for right now, I wanted to focus on the story, the campaign part of it, because to me, I don't know about you, Soapy, it's interesting that basically this is going to be not a continuation from Black Ops 3, not a continuation from Black Ops 2. Basically, hey, Black Ops 1 happened. This is a sequel directly off of Black Ops 1. What are you thinking from the information that we're getting about the campaign and the story for Black Ops Cold War?
Well, I mean, this is more just going to be my Call of Duty campaign nerd coming out, but
Go ahead.
I feel like they're about to actually retcon one of the things that happens in Black Ops 1. Where it's everyone thought Mason died. Or not Mason, Woods died.
Okay.
Because that's when, in Black Ops 1, that's when they have the whole thing of where it's Mason's going around killing all the people that Reznov wanted him to kill.
Yep.
Like Gotrenko, Steiner, and all that.
Mm-hmm.
It was, we all thought Woods died because he tackled someone out of a window and then an explosion happened.
Yeah.
And we didn't see Woods for the rest. It's like, are you going to have two separate things? Like, where he play as Woods in one of them?
Yeah.
Like, is he just on his own?
Mm-hmm.
Or are they just going to retcon that? I mean, obviously, once again, that's like a minor nitpick detail.
Do you think it's going to be a retcon, though? Because it sounded like you were saying it is, and then at the end of your statement, it kind of sounded like, well, they might. Like, do you think it's going to be a retcon, or are you not sure where to lean?
I'm not sure, and it's just because I don't know how they're going to handle it, mostly because we haven't seen the campaign.
Yeah. I mean...
Like, obviously... I mean, I'm not trying to cut you off,
no, go ahead.
I think it's something that right now, I mean, I don't think people really care about how like concise Call of Duty's campaigns are.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think people are expecting chronological order stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Of where it's like, nope, this happened, this can't happen because this happened.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it's more or less of like oh, cool, we didn't know that, this happened.
Mm-hmm.
Or like, I'm trying to figure out how to explain it. It's basically, I don't think they care if they retcon anything. Because not a lot of people will remember, like, Call of Duty's campaigns for, like, small moments like that.
And yeah, and I'm right now in front of me, I have the Black Ops 1 ending because, yet again, it's been forever since I played Black Ops 1. And already through, like, not even a minute of this ending, they're showing a lot of, like, Cuba. They're showing a lot of like experimentation, the kind of case opening that, remember the bomb we talked about earlier of like, hey, this is what was sent to the developers afterwards. And I think it'll be interesting to see that this will be a continuation, because even at the like very end, I'm scrolling through. With me, I remember vividly the like swimming in a pipe at the end of it, going through a ship and then coming up, and you're like basically on the ship getting pulled up with the icebergs all around, or icebergs and then two big fucking ships around it. Maybe the icebergs weren't there, and that's my mind fabricating things. But it's going to be interesting to kind of go back and kind of, hey, let's continue this story. This one that we didn't do from Black Ops 2. And yet again, you look at Treyarch, and Treyarch is usually the games where they usually go back in time. You know what I'm saying? Where if I pull up a list of, let's see, Call of Duty Wiki really quick. And if you look at the developers, usually it's certain developers stick to the same kind of Call of Duty games where Activision kind of oversees everything. But Infinity Ward is usually like the Modern Warfares and the Advanced Warfares, where Treyarch is like World at War, World War II, now Cold War. And to me, it will be interesting, especially if they are going to retcon something and change something, because this is, like I said, Black Ops 1 was one of my favorite games to play. Do you remember what year Black Ops 1 was in, Soapy?
What year it was in?
Yeah, what year it came out.
Oh, what year it came out?
I just looked it up.
It came out, I'm going to say 2010.
You are right, 2010, 10 years ago. So that was like, for me, I was 20 years old in college playing that game. And I vividly remember, like, especially the ending of it and finishing that game going, holy shit, I can't wait to see what happens. And maybe this is what happens that I have been waiting for when it comes to Call of Duty. Yet again, though, tomorrow is when we'll get like the real answers. The reveal's going to be out there. We'll be talking about more than just the campaign. I just wanted to bring that little snippet up when it came to the campaign. And we'll move on unless you've got any more to say on it, Soapy, because I don't want to cut you off if there's anything that you're thinking about it.
No, that's basically it.
Okay. Because the next thing we have to move on into, because Soapy, this is something that I cannot wait to get your opinion on, is we finally got revealed today. We talked about it before in the past. You brought up the DLC for Borderlands 3 coming out, where we talked about it said, like, the quote I believe you said was like the biggest Psycho. Well, we finally got the trailer for Psycho, correct me if I'm wrong, Soapy, Psycho Krieg, and the fantastic Fustercluck is the official name of the DLC. Soapy, I'm just going to let you take it. Your thoughts on the reveal trailer for this new DLC in Borderlands.
I'm just happy to fucking see Krieg in a game again. That's all I care about, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm watching through the trailer again right now.
Yeah.
And this is about to be like just an absolutely crazy DLC, because the whole thing that they're playing off of is like, you're seeing the varying different types of madness he has.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, for instance, there's the calm side. There's the fucking absolutely weird one. And even in the trailer, once again, it ties into a spoiler. I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's a character that something happens to in the game. And they're in there.
So the question is, should I show the trailer while we talk about it? Or no, if there's a spoiler?
That's up to you if you want to do that.
I won't. I was going to, but I won't if there's a spoiler. I did not. With me, I didn't make it far enough in Borderlands 3 to even know it was a spoiler. That's the thing. Like, me watching the trailer, I was like, oh, that's a spoiler? I didn't even know, kind of a thing. But with you saying that, I won't. We'll exit out of that. You guys probably saw a flash there. That was because I was exiting out of my two browsers. But no, with me, though, the thing that I love about it, it stays true to Borderlands. Like, this is what I expect a Borderlands expansion to be. And it almost makes me want to jump back into the game just to play it, because it's been forever since I played Borderlands 3. Haven't played it since it came out. Do you think this is going to be a long DLC or a medium one? Because the thing that I heard about it is that the locale of this DLC is his brain. And we're going like into, I think it was going into Krieg's brain, and that's where everything's taking place.
I think this will be. I mean, DLCs for Borderlands are never like super long.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's every DLC they've released for Borderlands you could beat in one sitting.
Good point. Good point.
I mean, obviously they're not like short sittings. You're not just gonna sit down for 10 minutes and be done. Like it's a couple hours.
Mm-hmm. But it's not like a 24-hour kind of DLC or a 24-hour gameplay, is what you're saying.
Because like an example I can use is I think it was the Blood and Bounty. I think is what the DLC before this one was. I finished that in like 8 hours.
Okay.
And that's in 2 sittings.
So you could sit down in a day and beat it if that's all you did that day.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I think this is probably going to be around still that like 8-hour mark. I mean, obviously I probably took longer than some people.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't be surprised if it's about the same length, unless they really want to hammer home this DLC.
Mm-hmm.
Because this one, like I said, it ties directly into a former character. Like, because with the DLCs we've gotten so far, none of them have really tied into anybody. Like, or I shouldn't say tie into anybody. Like, they tie into characters that are in the games. Like, the first one is about Handsome Jack, which I have my whole different opinions on that one.
Mm-hmm.
There's the second one, which is Guns, Love, and Tentacles, is about Hammerlock. The third one actually has, like, no connection to anything. And then now it's the fourth one is about Krieg. I think 4, is going to be the equivalent of... With Borderlands 2, there was a DLC called Bunkers and Badasses, which is basically them making a DLC about D&D.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be the equivalent of Bunkers and Badass of, like, this is going to be the one, it's funny because it's Krieg, but it's also going to have heart-wrenching moment.
Mm-hmm.
Because Tina's, I ain't going to lie, that fucking ending hits real hard.
Especially because, with, like, how connected you are to these characters and how, like, they're easy characters to feel for and they're easy characters to get attached to.
Yeah, and especially because, I mean, I'll give a spoiler for fucking Borderlands 2's Bunkers and Badasses. That fucking DLC is like 10 years old.
Yeah, if you haven't played that, it's your own fault.
Yeah. At the end of that one, they tie into the fact of Roland dies. Mm-hmm. And the whole thing is Tina trying to accept that Roland has died.
Yeah.
Because that's why at the end, it's whenever she has it that the Handsome Sorcerer is about to kill him. Mm-hmm. It's basically, they cut away from the game and they just show a thing of like Tina sitting there on her hands and knees crying. Mm-hmm. Because she can't accept that her friend's dead.
Yeah.
And that's like a thing, that was a big character moment for her. I think.
And not just that, like, that's an emotion that is like, the best things with games is when they get you to feel those raw emotions that are like, they're not telling you how to feel. It's you know how to feel because 99.9% of the time you've either known someone or have felt that same emotion of losing someone and not necessarily knowing how to accept it and accept that it's happened.
Yeah, and I think especially like with that situation of it being Tina, it fits in more because she lives on such a crazy world where death is so common. Mm-hmm. Like we literally see Tina shock someone to death and blow someone up the first time we see her. Mm-hmm. But then as you see such this raw emotion of like when it's someone, like, and it almost kind of is, I don't want to say like an analogy because I don't know if that's the right word for it or not. It's kind of just how we view death in the world as it is. Like we see videos of people getting killed and we're just kind of like, whatever.
We're desensitized to it.
Yeah, and like it almost feels like that's what they went for with that, and I think they're going to try to replicate that feling because I'm going to be brutalist. I don't care if I fucking spoil anything anymore. I'm not dancing around it because. Also, basically, Borderlands 3 is a year old. If it hasn't been spoiled for you, get over it.
At this point, I'd say fair game.
Yeah. It's when Maya dies, Krieg's whole thing is when you find echo logs in the game, it's him trying to become sane for Maya because he loves her.
Yeah.
And now it's going to be that situation of like, how has Krieg handled her death? Or does he even know?
Yeah. Is he able to comprehend that she is gone?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And because when she pops up in the trailer, I think she's going to play a major role in it. Because I almost wonder.
You are making me want to pick the game back up, Soaps. You are making me want to pick it back up.
Yeah, and I almost wonder, and this is mostly just a DLC speculation, is Krieg going to be the final villain of the DLC? Because is he going to view the Vault Hunters as the reason why she died?
Probably, right?
Because, I mean, we all know the real reason she died, and that's because Ava's a fucking idiot, but that's besides the point.
Yeah.
That's me bitching about a character I don't want to bitch about, because I don't want to get into that.
A raw emotion of usually when love is involved, logic goes out the window.
Yeah. Well, I mean, especially when you're a psycho and you barely can fucking comprehend what's happening anyways.
Good point. That adds a little cherry on top that most people don't have to deal with. But any other thoughts you got about the DLC before we move on?
I just can't wait for it, and I'm really curious just with how they're gonna do Krieg, because like some characters in Borderlands 3, like I will say, this is my biggest critique of the game. The old Vault Hunters that are in the game, they just don't seem as entertaining as they used to be. I really hope they nail Krieg, and it's because if you dumb him down and don't play him the way he was before, he's not as unique of a character anymore.
Yeah.
Because then it's like nothing really makes him different than the psychos you kill in the game.
Good point. Like, there's that extra layer of, like, how is he different? Oh, that's right. This is how he is different. But let's move on. We've got... So, Gamescom's opening night is tomorrow. That's where we're getting the Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War open. And this is from Adam Bankhurst at IGN again. And he says, Gamescom opening night live, which will stream live Thursday, August 27th, will feature the first full uncut gameplay demo of Ratchet and Clank, A Rift Apart for PlayStation 5, and world premieres for Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, Fall Guys Season 2, Doom Eternal's campaign expansion, Star Wars Squadrons, World of Warcraft, Shadowlands, and more. The and more, Soapy, is, so like I said, Ratchet and Clank, Rift Apart. World of Warcraft, Shadowlands, as well as Premiere Afterlives, the animated series that is coming from the World of Warcraft team that we talked about yesterday. Doom Eternal's campaign expansion, The Ancient Gods Part 1, will also get a first look. The new story will revolve around an imbalance of power in heaven and how the Doom Slayer fits into that problem. In addition to the previous mentioned games, it will also be giving the fans a new look at Destiny 2 Beyond Light, Mafia Definitive Edition, and I think that's everything. Let's see. Yeah, so that's everything that we're getting to look at. Doom Eternal, Destiny 2, Mafia, WoW Shadowlands, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. To me, Soapy, probably the two things I'm most excited for are, so Call of Duty's there, but like we already got some leaks, so that's kind of dampened a little bit for me. But to me, the most important things I'm looking at, number one, Ratchet and Clank, because we got to see that during the State of Play that both you and I took a look at, but then we haven't seen anything since. And now we get to see a gameplay demo of it. So holy shit, we get to see what that gameplay is like. Then also WoW Shadowlands. This is a mystery. What the hell are we going to see from WoW Shadowlands? Here's my question, Soapy, and I know you're not going to be able to answer this because I am more of the WoW guy than you are. So here's the thing. WoW Shadowlands has yet to have a date. We thought we would have had it by now because it was supposed to come out in like July, August is what we thought. So we thought we would be playing it as of right now. But there is no date for Shadowlands. COVID kind of fucked that up. The thing I want to ask you and give your opinion, because I think this is going to happen tomorrow. I am going to call it much like I called the Gotham Knights thing, much like I called the Breath of the Wild 2 being announced for the December release at this Direct. I'm going to announce that tomorrow we will officially have a release date for World of Warcraft Shadowlands, and that it will probably be a November release. What are your thoughts? We'll start there. What are your thoughts on that? Will I be happy and finally get a release date for World of Warcraft Shadowlands, or will Blizzard and Activision just say, here's another look? We'll wait and see more if we're going to get that anytime soon. What do you think? Am I crazy? Not crazy? What are you thinking?
I don't know if they try to release it in that absolute hellhole of November.
What do you mean by hellhole of November?
Both next-gen consoles are coming out. A fuck ton of games are coming out.
But does WoW matter? Is the WoW fan base addicted enough to where that shit won't matter?
Well, I mean, the PC players who have no want for consoles, it won't matter.
Okay.
But, for instance, there are people who play, WoW that have a console.
Yep, good
point. And, don't want next-gen. I think I could see them aiming more for, a December, January release.
Okay. After
or hell,
all that
even October.
Out.
Who knows?
All that sizzles out is what you're saying?
Yeah, I think
before, after?
Yeah, and I think it's mostly just because I think right now, November... it's always October, November, December is always just a clusterfuck for game releases because it's ooh man, my wallet's really starting to hurt.
Yeah.
Because all these games come out, and I think that's something that I don't know if WoW's ever released expansions and stuff like that around when other games have come out. Which I mean, obviously that could be something we check up on.
Yeah, I mean their expansions have ranged. Let's see, WoW Wiki. I'll look it up really quick. So the WoW expansions, I've looked this up in the past too. So Burning Crusade, which was their first expansion, was a January release. Wrath of the Lich King was November of 2008. Cataclysm, December of 2010. Mist of Pandaria, September of 2012. Warlords of Draenor, a November 14 release. Legion was in August of 16. Azeroth was in August of 18. That's why we thought Shadowlands, August of 2020, but obviously COVID probably fucked that up. So, they've done the January before, they've done the November before, they've even done the December before. They never have done the October release when it comes to an expansion.
I mean, hey, dude, there's a first time for everything.
I mean, that's what they say, right?
Yeah. So, I mean... It's just, personally for me, I don't see them trying, at least, during a pandemic, to try to, split people like that. Of, hey, you could buy, you could go and buy a console. Or buy our game. Obviously, most companies don't care.
Yeah.
But, I feel like it's one of those things that, I think right now, I think they try to either get it before that clusterfuck starts. Or afterwards.
And right now I just did a little sneak peek. So here are the games releasing that we know about in November. You ready?
Yeah.
Bakugan Champions of Vestoria. We've got a game called, what would that be? 13, just Roman numeral 13. Destiny 2 Beyond Light. You've got Sakuna of Rice and Rain. Death Crown. Yakuza Like a Dragon, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Chris Tales, Cyberpunk 2077, Cannibal, Cafe Enchante, Ancient Cities, and Bubble Bobble 4 Friends. Dude, watch out for that Bubble Bobble 4, you know what I'm saying?
Dude, that just sounds like a fun game.
Bubble Bobble 4 Friends. But just alone, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Cyberpunk 2077, like you said, the new consoles coming out, which will have their Godfall, Pathless, not Halo Infinite because that got delayed. But they will have their kind of drops that come along with it. They could do January, I guess. Do we have a list of January games? Here, let me scroll down. See.
I think it may be way too early to do January.
Let's see.
For knowing what games come out in January. Because it's normally we know if a game's coming out in 2 to 3 months. Mostly because then at that point it's the hype is still real by this point. It's not if I was developing a game and I basically have it done, I'm not going to be hey, it comes out in March of next year. It's okay. The
only games we have are Stronghold Warlords for PC, Hitman 3, and then The Pedestrian. Those are the only 3 that are on releases.com.
Okay. Yeah, and I don't think Hitman 3 is like a big enough game to
No, that's a very
really
niche
impede
game.
it.
To me, that's a very niche game. Like, it has its fans, and it's gonna attract just those fans.
Yeah. Do we know the games that are coming out in October?
I can give it a look. I can give it a little look-see. Never hurt with giving it a little look-see, Soapy. Let's see.
Watch October be fucking the one that's packed this time.
Let's see. Releases.
To where then I get to look like the fucking idiot.
Damn. Give me a second. October 2020 game releases. Because I closed that tab. Let's see. IGN's got an article about this. That's biggest console games. Video games date calendar. Here we go. October. Give me that October. So here they all. You ready? Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, October 2nd. Star Wars Squadron, October 2nd. Foregone, October 5th. Ben 10 Power Trip, October 9th. Dirt 5, October 9th. FIFA 21, October 9th. G.I. Joe Operation Blackout, October 13th. NHL 21, October 16th. Remotered Broken Parceling, October 20th. Transformers Battlegrounds, October 23rd. The Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel 4, October 27th. Watch Dogs Legion, October 29th. Pikmin 3 Deluxe, October 30th. And then the Dark Pictures Anthology Light Hope, October 30th. Auto Chest, Halloween.
Okay. So yeah, I think it sounds like there's a lot in October, but it's like a lot of those are also like, once again, really niche audiences.
Yeah.
So like I think they could squeak it in there.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously I don't want to have to search for December because I don't want this to take too long.
Do we get do we get the date tomorrow, or do they?
Oh yeah, I think we do.
Okay. All right. Because that's the only thing I fucking care about. Give me the effing release date already. I want to know when I can play World of Warcraft, Shadowlands, any of the other games that we are getting tomorrow. Any tickle your fancy? For me, Ratchet and Clank, I can't wait to talk about that tomorrow. Because obviously we're going to talk about it after we see the gameplay. Anything else kind of tickle your fancy when it comes to any of the games that I mentioned for Gamescom that we'll see tomorrow on opening night?
I'm actually surprisingly excited for Mafia Definitive Edition.
Okay.
And that's mostly because I really like the Mafia games.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm interested to see how they handle basically remastering like a 15-year-old game.
Yeah. Because I was going to say the Mafia games I never got into.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see what they do with it. Like, I've seen screenshots and it looks really good.
Mm-hmm.
But once again, it's screenshots.
Yeah. No.
That's the thing I always hate. It's like, dude, you can show me as many pictures you want. I don't care. Show me gameplay. Yeah.
No, that's for sure one of the things that when you go ahead and like it could be a picture, it's like I need to know what it looks like on that screen. But we're going to move on. The next thing we're going to talk about is Shorty But A Goodie. It's a topic we love to do on the show where we got some short, quick hitters for you. Soapy, the first one is I'm going to go ahead and get rid of our overlay because I am going to go ahead and bring over an article so that everyone else can see. The Wonder Woman 1984 has Xbox covers and themes, and this is what they look like. We've got kind of the gold Xbox. I believe these are Xbox Ones with the shape of them. I don't know if they'll have these for Xbox Series X, but they have a complete gold one that is in kind of the theme of the gold armor that we're going to see from Wonder Woman. Kind of has the little like bird on the front and has a gold controller. We got, to me, a fucking cool controller. It's the Wonder Woman kind of like 80s crystallized decal on the controller with just an orange console, the Wonder Woman rainbow theme, and then an actual lasso on the console. And then the last one, which if I was buying any of these, this would be the one I buy. It is a cheetah-themed Xbox with kind of a tiger kind of skin, but then leopard and cheetah actual fur straps on the console. It's got a little rhinestone up here in the corner. The controller is obviously leopard skinned out or cheetah skinned out. What, Soapy, you're the Xbox guy. What are your thoughts on these, and do you have a favorite when it comes to these Xbox designs for Wonder Woman 84?
I mean, they all look really cool. Like, I almost wonder if they're also going to bring this over for the Xbox One X.
Do you think so?
I expect them to. Like, it may be like a little bit after release.
Mm-hmm.
But if I had to choose one to pick, I think I would choose the second one, like the one that has the lasso on it.
Yeah.
And it's mostly just because I like the way the controller looks.
Yeah, dude, it's fucking dope. I love that design that's been in all the graphics for Wonder Woman 84.
Yeah, so I'm really happy about that one.
No, I mean...
personally for me, I'm not a big fan of the cheetah print one.
Does it look too tacky? Is it too tacky? Is that why?
A little bit. I got a little bit of Leisure Suit Larry vibes for a second, and I got scared.
Oh, man. I mainly like... Two reasons why I like it. The controller looks dope, and just having the actual fur on the console. How would that be when that thing heats up, though? Like, is
not
that
fun.
Is that going to cause problems when that console heats up?
It definitely fucking is. That's why I don't like it. Because I can see it in the future if it's gonna be like this some bitch caught on fire.
I mean, it better
when
be,
someone forgets to turn their fucking Xbox off.
Like, it better be fucking flame retardant. If that's the case, we're gonna have some fires with that one. The next Shorty But A Goodie is not really something that needs comment, but I just wanted to bring it up on the show because it's a situation that has happened. According to Adam Bankhurst at IGN, multiple Lab Zero Games employees resigned following studio heads' inappropriate behavior and abuse. Multiple Lab Zero Games employees have resigned from the developer behind such games as Skullgirls and Indivisible following inappropriate behavior and abuse from its studio head Mike Zalmort. Or Zymont. Zymont was previously accused of making two employees uncomfortable with demeaning and sexually suggestive comments. And on July 3rd, 2020, Lab Zero Games tweeted that it would make a full statement soon on the allegations. The statement never happened, and now multiple Lab Zero Games employees have resigned and are speaking up against the abuse that occurred at the studio. This was just something, Soapy, that I wanted to bring up because if it's true, if the allegations against him are true, I just wanted to bring kind of just the light of like showing the courage from these employees, because it's not easy just to say, hey, I'm going to quit my job, especially when we're in the pandemic that we are in right now, where jobs are probably scarce. To make that decision of like, I'm going to do what's right and basically leave my job because I'm A, not happy with what he did, and two, I'm not happy that the company has not even made a statement about it yet, and it's been over a month since it's happened. I don't know if you have anything to say, but my thing was just kind of kudos to the employees for being able to make the tough choice to leave, even when some people might be, well, I'm pretty much stuck here because of everything going on in the world right now.
Well, I mean, it's the fact that this isn't the first time this guy's done something shitty and nothing's happened from it. Yeah. Like, there have been people, because since these guys made Skullgirls, they kind of, like, they don't have, like, a super huge competitive scene.
Uh-huh.
But it's, like, for instance, one of the female players have talked about getting creepy DMs from him. Like, it's... Like, he's basically made, like, openly racist jokes. Mm-hmm. Obviously, he's had sexually suggestive comments and stuff like that. And it's just like, dude...
He's a shitbag. He's a shitbag in my mind.
It's basically the same thing we said for the Ubisoft guy. It's the same thing every time when it comes up. Just stop being fucking creepy.
Yeah.
Holy fuck, dude. Like, people just need to... there is no reason that you should do any of this at a workplace. Mm-hmm. Obviously, it's going to sound shitty to say. You could do it at home. If you're that type of person, do it at home.
I would rather you do it nowhere, but I guess home is better.
Yeah, I know. But, like if you're just going to fucking do it anyways, do it at home.
Yeah, it's...
I mean, obviously, if you're by yourself, you can't sexually harass somebody, which is basically me telling you don't sexually harass people, you fucking dum-dum.
You know what I would say? Sexually harass yourself. That's what I would say. But even that might not even be good. But at least you're doing it to yourself. So if you're doing it to yourself, is it really sexual harassment? Because you're giving yourself permission to do it?
I don't know.
I mean,
That's a different can of worms that you probably shouldn't get into.
That's a conundrum that I just walked myself into. But the last thing for Shorty But A Goodie is Soapy. This is from IGN. Ryan McCaffrey has the article. Cobra Kai, the Karate Kid saga, continues. Video game revealed. Release date confirmed for PS4 and Xbox One and the Switch. Publisher Game Mill Entertainment has announced Cobra Kai, the Karate Kid saga continues, a new video game to be released on October 27th on the PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch. It has a trailer. I may put it up right now as we're talking. I will put it up as we're talking. But Soapy, I'm just going to ask you this. Are you going to play The Karate Kid, the saga continues when it comes out in October? No. It doesn't appeal to you?
Yeah, there's just really not much to go off. Just no. Like
Soapy's like, I'm not an 80s kid. What
yeah, I was gonna say, what do you expect me on? Like, just don't appeal to me. Me don't understand. Me young man. Me not old man.
Mask bad.
I mean, that's a different conversation for a different day.
Oh, I'm just gonna pull up the article. It shouldn't be this hard to find a trailer. You know what I'm saying, Soapy? It should not be this hard. So let me get rid of the overlay a little bit. We're gonna watch this a little bit right now. No sound, of course, because we don't need to. Can I full screen this? Will it not let me full screen it? No. It obviously started to play, but now it is not. There we go. Here we go. Yeah. So this is the game we're looking at, Soapy. And of course, the saga continues going off of the YouTube original. I probably won't play it either. I'll be completely honest. But I mean, I guess if you're a fan of the Karate Kid, that this is kind of cool. It's got David Hasselhoff in it, it looks like. Good music,
I mean, hey,
though.
dude.
Good.
Shout out to fucking
music.
David Hasselhoff.
But yeah, I mean, with me, it kind of looks like a mobile game. That's what I'm looking like. It looks like a mobile game that I'll get on my PlayStation. No, thank you. But if you're a Karate Kid fan, you can go and check it out. And then, Soapy, the last thing I wanted to bring up on the show today, kind of a mini discussion of, because we've been in a pandemic and haven't had like Comic-Con and G4 and E3 and all these conventions, DC FanDome was over the weekend. And there's an article on The Verge from Julie Alexander that puts DC's FanDome set the new gold standard for virtual events. And if you did not watch, basically it was an entire day. So from like 10 o'clock Central Time all the way to 7:30. The last thing ended at like 8 o'clock Central Time. We had different video. It was like you went to the website, you watched the presentation, and it was really nicely done. They had different hosts in front of a green screen. Yes, Dave and I joked a little bit because some of the green screening was not so great. But the art behind them was amazing. It was all done by Jim Lee of DC Comics. And it was a nice event to do virtually to kind of give us, it kind of felt like to me, like a Comic-Con while sitting at my computer, because it was like Comic-Con panels that were obviously pre-recorded, edited. They were able to not have any mistakes. They were able to have everything scripted exactly like they wanted to. The thing I wanted to ask you, Soapy, is there any way, even if it's at the beginning of the year, like when we get BlizzCon in January, can different companies look at DC and go, hey, until we know we can get people in a convention for these releases, should they look at DC FanDome as kind of like the blueprint for a virtual event to kind of reveal different things and kind of have a convention without having a real convention?
Yeah, and I think that's something that right now, obviously during a pandemic, we don't know when, quarantine or a vaccine or anything's going to come up. So I think as of right now, that should be what's on everyone's mind. It shouldn't be, can we put people in a stadium? It should be, all right, let's focus on the quality content. Obviously, if it gets close to because BlizzCon's in January, right?
Yeah, supposed to be in January.
Yeah, let's say we start getting news that oh shit, COVID-19 gone. It just disappeared.
We got a vaccine that killed it all. Yay!
No, it just ups and disappears.
You know what? Biden got elected and it just up and disappeared.
Yep.
It just went boop and disappeared.
But yeah, it's if that's the case, then yeah, start worrying about putting it inside of convention centers and stuff like that. But I think right now it should be people focusing on okay, how do we get the green screening to not look goofy? How do we get certain things to not look bad? How do we start planning on things like that rather than oh, well, let's make these plans for this convention, and then a month before when we find out, wow, look at that, it's almost like we're in a pandemic still. And people don't want to go to a convention.
Yeah.
Or we're not allowed to hold a convention.
Yeah, and the thing I really liked about it was a planned out day, but I liked how it was, hey, this is pre-recorded. It was able to kind of get the point done. It wasn't any dragged out. Because conventions, you've been to them, Soapy, where you get the people that ask stupid questions. You get the panels that go on a little long. This was one where it's just everyone's able to see it. It was free to everyone. It wasn't gate locked from anything. And I know that probably hurt in the making money business, but it's a nice thing. It was a great kind of day to see all the DC stuff, and I can't wait for other games, conventions, and stuff to kind of use this model so that we all can kind of have this Comic-Con and kind of convention spirit without being able to go to an actual convention. But that is going to do it for MVP Games Live for August 25th, 2020. I want to thank you guys for watching. Remember, if you're on Twitch, you ever miss a show, you can catch us live on YouTube, MVP Entertainment. I'm going to also have my FanDome videos posting tonight on Tuesday and then tomorrow on Wednesday as well. So check them out on our YouTube page. If you're on YouTube, remember we do the show every Monday through Friday at twitch.tv/MVP vids around 5:30 to 6:30 or 5:30 to 6 Central Time. Make sure to join the Discord. The Discord link is in the description if you are on YouTube. !Discord is how you get in there. On Twitch, it'll just give you the link and you can accept it right then and there. Patreon.com/MVP vids is how you help support us. On Twitch, you can become a bronze tier member even by subbing to our Twitch channel or by throwing us your Prime Gaming subscription for the month. So remember that. I won't let you forget it. I want to thank Soapy for another great show. Him and I will be back tomorrow with a lot more gaming news. We will be back. And as always, have a good day, everybody.
Bye.